It started as a joke, a harmless joke that turned into something way bigger than I could have ever imagined. Okay, before I get too far ahead of myself, I probably should give you guys a little bit of context. So, I've always been a prankster. I remember my first April Fool's like it was yesterday. I got home from school, opened all the cabinets in my kitchen, grabbed a pot, and tied a piece of rope around the handle and waited patiently for my dad to get home behind the door with silly string in hand. And the second he walked in, I pulled the rope, tripped him with the pot, and covered him in silly string. Let's just say that day set a fire in me. Fast forward a few years, I was a sophomore at the time, and now I'm a senior at the University of Dayton. I work at Flyer Enterprises, which for you who don't know, is a student-run organization where you can have experience running a business as a student. This could be anywhere from a coffee shop, smoothie stand, you name it. Me personally, I'm a sales associate at Art Street Cafe, where I make paninis. So translation, bottom of the ladder, nowhere to go but up. So naturally, it didn't take very long before the people of Flyer Enterprises found out I had this mischief side to me. So it all started when somebody in the FE employee-wide group chat asked if he could have permission to hire his friend who was a senior at The Blend, which is a coffee division. And I replied, having no authority to do so, saying, fine by me. Mind you, we only hire freshmen and sophomores. It was all fun and games and lighthearted to everybody other than one person, the president of coffee. Now, this wasn't his real job title. However, he was a manager of The Blend, the coffee division, and he took his job extremely seriously. He was very strict, organized, meticulous, essentially everything I'm not, but everything I wanted to prank. And so I got to work. I sat on my couch, hunched over my computer, and started designing. My roommate walked in and caught me in the act, and she said, "What is a Nathalie-Loma?" I replied and said, "A legend." Well, technically, Nathalie Loma was a real person. She was someone I had met in Chicago about a week prior, and she had this energy to her. She was effortlessly cool, the type of person that could wear sunglasses inside and somehow make it work. She just had this name that deserved to be immortalized, or at least turned into a fictional coffee drink. So I continued to work and I started designing. I wrote a double shot of espresso, oat milk, a dash of cinnamon, and a completely unnecessary bit of orange zest. It was over the top and completely impractical, but absolutely perfect. I finished designing the poster, went onto Walgreens' website, and of course picked the largest poster size possible, 40 by 60 inches. It was $30, but absolutely worth it. It was ready the next day, and then came the riskiest part, hanging it up. I ended up sneaking into the Blend after hours with double-sided tape and just stuck the sign up right next to the menu. And what I expected was maybe a few confused freshmen or some laughs from the baristas, but what I got instead was war. According to a traumatized barista, the president of coffee spotted it first, of course. He came in, ripped the poster off the wall, and apparently, like a possessed man, started yelling, "Who authorized this, and what the heck is a Nathalie-Loma?" And none of the baristas knew what to say, so they didn't answer the question. Not because they had my back, but because they were just as confused as he was. But no, it didn't take long when they put all their heads together. They figured it was me. About an hour later, I got an email on my phone saying, "Urgent, unauthorized sign at the Blend. Come to my office immediately." I could feel his glare through the phone. So I went to his office, and I didn't even try to deny it. I walked in and said, "Yeah, it was me." He was a little bit confused, as he kind of expected I would resist a little, but caught off guard, he just asked, "Why did you do that?" And the real reason was because I was bored, because I had nothing else to do, and because the name Nathalie-Loma was just far too good not to use. But instead, I felt like I couldn't say that. So I just said, oh, it was for a marketing experiment, which looking back, I don't know why I said. I'm an accounting and finance major. But he, not really knowing what to say, just said, well, why didn't you ask me? And I was like, would you have said yes? Him knowing he wouldn't, just said, if you pull a stunt like this again, you're banned from the blend. And I just said, understood, and I walked out. Not that I'd even want to go if they didn't have the nathalyloma, but anyhow, for weeks after, people were still trying to order the drink, despite it only being up for an hour, and one guy claimed that he had actually had it before. The cherry on top was that the president of coffee had to send a school-wide email saying that they did in fact not have a nathalyloma drink on the menu. So whenever I walk in through the blend and I see some freshmen or people sipping on their flavorful lattes, I wonder if her spirit still lives on. And yes, it was worth every penny of that $30.